Your Honor. Like,
I know.
open the doors, they're still closed. Oh, that's right.
Deputy, would you please tell us your name and how you're employed?
Deputy Kelly with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office?
Just over 5 years.
Were you working with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office on May 4th of 2020?
I was.
On that particular day, I guess it's around 9:06, were you working with the Tactical Patrol Evening Watch?
I was.
Now that day and time, were you patrolling the area?
I'm sorry. Did you say you said May 4th?
May 4th of 2020? Is that right?
This is
On Julian Springer?
yes, I believe that incident date. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I had the wrong case in my head.
Okay. Okay, so is that right, on May 4th of 2020 around 9:06 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Now that particular day and time, were you patrolling in the area of Old Tony Road and Oak Street, located in
was.
Hollywood? Okay. Now that particular day, did you make contact with a Julian Springer?
I did.
Please tell us how that contact came to be.
I conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle in that area that was traveling well above the posted speed limit of 25 miles an hour area. My rate of speed behind them was approximately 40 to 45 miles an hour. When I turned on my emergency lights, the vehicle continued down Oak Street and pulled into the residence. I don't remember exactly what the address was of the house, and Mr. Springer was the passenger in the vehicle.
Was he a front seat passenger or a back seat passenger?
He was the front seat passenger. It was just him and the driver.
What happened after the car pulled into this residence?
Mr. Springer and the driver attempted to exit the vehicle. I advised them to stay inside the vehicle. They both started yelling for the residents inside the vehicle to come outside, at which time I requested more units at the location. And I stood by with the units I stood by with Mr. Springer and the driver inside the vehicle until I had more units on scene.
While you were there waiting for the other units, did Mr. Springer make any statements to you?
He kept saying that he didn't want any problems. He didn't understand why they were being pulled over. And they were so concerned with trying to get the other people out of the house and being so excited about the situation, they didn't really give me the opportunity to tell them what was going on.
As you were standing there, Deputy Kelly, did you notice anything out of the ordinary regarding the vehicle or Mr. Springer?
I could smell marijuana coming from inside the vehicle, but until I had more units, I didn't address that situation at the time.
Did additional units eventually arrive on the scene?
Yes, and when they did, the driver fled on foot from the vehicle. I gave chase, and I believe Mr. Springer was detained at the same time.
Now, just so we're clear, Mr. Springer remained on the scene?
Yes.
Okay. After you returned back to the vehicle where Mr. Springer was, what happened?
I conducted a search of the vehicle due to the smell of marijuana, and inside the vehicle, in between the the passenger seat and the center console, I found I believe it was a Glock pistol.
And Deputy Kelly, just so we're clear, was the Glock, was it in the center console? Was it in between the center console and the passenger seat? Just if you could give us a detailed description of where the Glock was.
Yes, it was in between the center console and the passenger seat where Mr. Springer had been sitting.
You
I
were
didn't
breaking
hear
up that
that. I'm
last part.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear that.
If you
I
can
said
repeat-
that the
yeah.
pistol was in between the center console and the passenger seat where Mr. Springer had been sitting.
Was anything else located from the
Yes.
search vehicle?
Yes, inside the center console, I found. I'm sorry. A clear plastic bag containing marijuana. I don't recall exactly how much. Give me 1 second. There was two clear plastic bags inside the center console, and then I believe that Mr. Springer also had a clear plastic bag of marijuana on his person when he was detained.
Do you recall where on Mr. Springer's person that bag of marijuana was located?
I believe it was in his right front pocket,
Would that be a pants pocket or a jacket pocket?
pants pocket. Sorry.
Did Mr. Springer make any statements to you regarding the marijuana that was found?
He advised that the marijuana in the vehicle he had nothing to do with, and he had no idea it was there.
Were you able to determine whose vehicle that was?
The vehicle belonged to a female that was at that residence there,
Okay.
but she was not inside the vehicle at the time.
Did Mr. Springer make any statements regarding the weapon that was found?
Just that it was not his. It was stolen out of the Atlanta Police Department, I believe.
Do you recall how much the marijuana weighed that you found on Mr. Springer's person?
Not off the top of my head, unfortunately. I printed off the wrong report for this case.
Oh,
Do you need to take some time to send him the report?
yes, Your Honor. I was just about to ask. Deputy Kelly, are you, we can either screenshot and text it to you or send it to you via email.
You can just screenshot it and text it to me. That's fine.
Okay, Your Honor, if I could have a moment, I'll ask Investigator Ponder to do that.
Absolutely. I'll be right here.
All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Deputy Kelly, have you had a chance to review your report?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Is the judge back?
I don't think she's back on. I'm just saying if he's gotten his, what we sent him.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask that you send it to me too. I have a right to look at what he's looking at.
Well, I'll wait till she comes on you could do that. So,
Okay,
well, actually, John, you know what? I'll screenshot exactly what we sent.
that's, okay, good. Or if it's easier, you can email me, whichever one's easiest for you.
No, I'm gonna have to screenshot it.
Okay,
I don't have it via email.
okay. Like I said, whatever's easiest. I'm here for you.
Man told me, I tell him, "Don't get me."
Are we ready or are we waiting for something?
No, we were waiting, Your Honor.
Okay, I thought I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm right here. I apologize.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right.
All right, Deputy Kelly, you've had an opportunity to review your report.
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what the weight of the marijuana was that you found on Mr. Springer?
It was approximately 34.5 grams. Are you saying on Mr. Springer individually or the total?
What, did you weigh the marijuana that was found in his person by itself?
I don't remember what the individual weight of the marijuana that was found on his person was, but it was less. It was maybe a gram or two.
So the amount that was found in his person, you believe was less than an ounce?
Yes.
Okay. And so the total amount, meaning the marijuana that was found in the center console, along with what was found on his person, weighed how much?
34.5 grams.
The marijuana that was found in the console, how was that packaged?
2 separate clear plastic bags.
And the marijuana that was found on Mr. Springer's person, do you recall how that was packaged?
Another clear plastic bag.
The marijuana that was found, the way it was packaged in the, you said the 2 clear plastic bags, from your training and experience, what is that indicative of?
Drug sales.
Was Mr. Springer then arrested?
He was.
Were you able to run a criminal history on Mr. Springer?
I was.
And do you recall what that criminal history revealed?
He was a convicted felon. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what the agency or charges were.
Okay. Did all of this take place in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross?
Yes, thank you. Afternoon. It's my understanding that you had a chance to review your report.
Yes.
And how many pages was that you looked at?
I believe 3, sir.
Okay. Now, you
Would
said
you
that
mind,
the
would you
initial
mind moving
content,
your camera so I can see your face?
I can stand up a little taller.
Okay, that'll work.
Now, why did you want to see my face?
Just so I could see. I mean, all I see is this.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay, you said that you made contact. According to the police report, he was at a high rate of speed. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
In your report that you said you reviewed, you
Mhm.
wrote that it was because there was a high rate of speed. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you said that that you followed him at 45 miles per.
Yes.
Okay. Are you saying now to the court and to everyone that 45 miles per hour is a high rate of speed?
In a residential area where the supposed speed limit is 25 miles an hour, yes, that is what I'm saying, sir.
Okay, so it's a high rate of speed. So you must be very concerned on the highway when you drive. All right. So Mr. Springer was a passenger in the front, correct?
Yes, Mr. Springer was the front seat passenger.
He was not the owner of the vehicle.
No, he was not.
In fact, it's according to your police report, Miss Atkins was the owner of the car, right?
Yes, she was.
Okay, we don't have her first name though, do we? Or do we?
Was it not in the report?
I didn't see it, but I'm just asking you. It's your report.
Yes, her first name is in there.
And what is it?
I believe it's Charlena or Charlena.
Okay. And Charlena Atkins was present at the stop, correct?
She came from inside the house, yes.
Oh, so she was present. How many other folks were present with her?
She had a bunch of kids out there. I wasn't really paying attention to exactly how many.
Okay, but there was a group, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, did you ever check whether the car was stolen or not?
I ran the tag and it was not reported stolen.
Okay, so it was not a stolen car.
Miss Atkins advised that the driver was her, as she said, her bae. I guess that means that she's dating him.
Okay, I would not have known that. Okay, so they had a relationship, the owner and the driver. And the
Yes.
driver left, he fled, correct?
He did.
And you haven't been able to catch him since?
I have not. Mr. Springer nor Miss Atkins they both advised that they did not know his real name, that they only knew him as a nickname.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask that you turn your attention to the gun. I mean, I don't have a picture of the car. So did you have to put your hand down onto, in between the console and the seat and actually feel around on the floor for it?
No,
No. Then
No,
what
I
did you
could-
do?
I could see it when I looked down in between the seat and the center console.
So you could see it. And where were you when you saw it?
Above the passenger seat, the front passenger seat.
Okay, so you were above looking down. So basically standing outside, I take it, or were you kneeling on the passenger seat?
I don't recall exactly what my position was, sir.
Okay. All right. Did you have occasion, since we're talking about the gun, to have the gun fingerprinted?
No, that is going to be up to the GBI or Atlanta Police Department.
Okay, but it's not done yet, and you didn't ask for it, correct?
Not that I know of, sir. I
So
processed the
you-
evidence and it goes from there.
Okay, but you did not specifically ask for the gun to be fingerprinted?
No, I did not.
Okay, okay. Did you test Mr. Springer for gunshot residue?
No, I did not.
All right. Okay. Now, let's turn our attention to the marijuana. It's my understanding that a little bit of marijuana, less than a couple grams, was found on Mr. Springer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest was found inside the console, which was closed, correct?
No,
No?
there was I don't know if it was a cutout or maybe it was where the cup holders used to be or something, but there was a hole in the center console and the marijuana was inside that.
Okay, and was the hole, okay, so the hole was in the console and was, okay. Okay, but you had to search for it to find it, right?
No, I
So
looked,
you did conduct a search?
sir. I
Did you
conducted a
conduct
search of the vehicle
car?
while I was looking over the center console into the compartment that was whatever was missing there. I could plainly see the marijuana.
Okay, okay. And did you weigh the marijuana or is that somebody else?
No, I weighed the marijuana.
All right. Okay, I have nothing else further of the officers, Kelly.
All right, do you have any redirect, Attorney Freeman?
No, Your Honor, the state has no additional witnesses.
Okay. Attorney Kraus, do you have any witnesses?
No, just argument.
Okay, argument.
Thank you. The state waives opening.
Okay, Judge, I'm going to ask that everything be dismissed other than marijuana misdemeanor amount. As we heard from the police officer, The only thing that was found on Mr. Springer was a misdemeanor amount of marijuana. The other items, the rest of the marijuana, the larger amount, as well as the gun, were found in the car. The officer could not say any relationship that my client had with anything in the car other than being a front seat passenger. Moreover, the fact that he did not flee is indicative of a not guilty conscience. We contrast that starkly with the driver who did flee. As in addition, apparently no efforts were made to consider what Miss Atkins, who was the owner of the vehicle, had with regard to the property that was found inside of her car. Moreover, we know from the police officer that the owner of the car, as well as the driver who fled, were in some kind of a relationship. So I would ask that I would suggest that there was no evidence shown to show that Mr. Springer had any connection with the large bit of marijuana as well as the gun. Moreover, from what I heard, the evidence was that even the large amount of marijuana that was found in the console was in 2 clear plastic bags. That is not, in my experience and knowledge, that is not for sale. If it had been for sale, it would have been in smaller amounts and not having that amount in 2 big plastic bags, which, as the officer said, was readily viewable or seeable when he just bent over and looked down. So I would suggest that that is another reason why marijuana with intent should go, because there was no indicia that I heard about anything of intent. There was nothing other than the 2 plastic bags. So I don't think it's marijuana with intent. Now, again, with the marijuana over an ounce, I would argue, as I just did, that my client had no property rights interest, did not have any possession. The state may say equal possession. I don't know if they will or not, but there's nothing to show that my client even knew it was there or had any knowledge of it. In fact, we have proof of the exact opposite. Mr. Springer said clearly, I don't know nothing about that marijuana in the console. And then the police officer also said that his other statement was, I don't know anything about the gun, which is the logical explanation and reaction by anyone who finds something or is confronted with something, seeing it for the first time. I don't know what that is. The police officer gave no testimony other than statements which denied the allegations. So and gun during the commission of a crime, I'm not sure which crime they are talking about, but if they're talking about the misdemeanor amount of marijuana that was on him, it has to be gun during the commission of a felony, not a misdemeanor. I think that has to go away for that reason, as well as not having possession of the gun to start with. So for those reasons, I would ask for dismissal of everything, but perhaps misdemeanor marijuana.
Right. Ms. Freeman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'll begin with the firearm. The firearm was located on the side of where Mr. Springer was sitting. We believe that there was enough testimony to show that he certainly was able to exercise ownership over that handgun that was there. Deputy Kelly did testify that he did run his criminal history, and he was found to be a convicted felon. And I believe that count.
I'm going to object to that as irrelevance. We don't have any felon charges here.
But I can certainly ask that that count be added.
But not at this stage.
I can, Mr. Kraus. based on the information that came out, and that's certainly up to the
Well,
court.
then I'm going to ask to have a chance to argue that.
The state gets the final argument, but it's up to the court.
Okay, 1 second, let me just ask this, let me ask this. Did Deputy Kelly give any information about when Mr. Springer was convicted?
That's what I was saying. He was not able to, Your Honor. He just said that he ran his criminal history. But he certainly could, he recalled that he was a convicted felon, but could not get any details.
No.
So,
You need more than that. You need the date of the conviction, the county.
right,
That
and it's
kind of-
not, exactly, Your Honor. And I didn't ask those questions because they aren't listed in the report. And I did send Mr. Kraus a copy.
At my request.
Mr.
Thank you.
And Mr. Kraus is correct in that if Your Honor does not find probable cause regarding the possession of marijuana with intent or the felony amount over an ounce, then certainly there cannot be a possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Deputy Kelly did testify that the marijuana that was found on Mr. Springer's person was a small amount, less than an ounce, and that would be a misdemeanor. However, 2 bags of marijuana were located in the center console, and the total weight would have been over an ounce of 34.5 grams. And Deputy Kelly did say that the way it was packaged is indicative of sale. The driver of the car did get out and flee. Mr. Springer did not flee. And the owner of the vehicle was neither Mr. Springer or the driver of the vehicle. But again, in taking the total amount of marijuana that was located, it certainly would be over an ounce and indicative of intent to distribute. However, the amount that was found on Mr. Springer's person was a misdemeanor.
All right, let me clarify a couple of things that have me stuck. So Deputy Kelly, when you kept saying that the gun was the passenger seat, between the passenger seat and the center console, could you
Yes,
see the gun from where you were standing outside of the car?
No, ma'am.
So when you got into the car to begin to search the car, was the gun, could you see the gun, or did you have to dig down to find the gun?
No, I could see the gun in between the center console and the seat.
Okay, and then the marijuana, you were going back and forth, and I wasn't clear in terms of where the marijuana was. You said it was in the console, but describe what you were trying to describe about the console of the car.
So behind where the gear shift was, and in between the gear shift and the center console that you would lift, there was an empty space. I don't know if it was where some cup holders were before or what, but the marijuana was in plain view down in that space.
So it was in plain view.
Once I was searching the vehicle, I couldn't see it from outside of the vehicle.
Hold on a second. Would you have been able to see it inside the vehicle? If you were sitting inside the vehicle?
No, you wouldn't have been able to see it if you were sitting inside the vehicle.
All right, that's enough. All right, so I only find probable cause for the marijuana. There seems in the less than an ounce of marijuana. There seems to be enough to these 2 felonies. I needed to understand a little bit more about where the marijuana was. You know, Mr. Springer is a passenger in a car that he doesn't own, passenger in a car that it seems like someone else owned, and the driver of the car gets out and flees. And even though I don't know, Attorney Kraus, whether or not there is, I think I wrote something down about you, the fact that your client did not flee shows that he did not have a guilty conscience. I don't know that that's a legal term I've ever heard of, but,
Renner versus state.
okay, very, very good. What is the name, what is it?
Renner, Renner. That's the case that says a charge on flight cannot be given. However, the state can argue it as consciousness of guilt. And
I
then
love
the
it.
opposite- And then the opposite, of course, is not having a consciousness of guilt, or
I love it.
consciousness of innocence.
I like that. I like when you give me a case, that's, okay, all right. So, you know, all things, when you look at this whole situation, you've got Mrs. Springer, who is a passenger in a car. Driver gets out and flees, haven't heard from the driver since. And just, no. I just find, all that I find is possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That's all I find.
And
Probably.
one thing I will say, so with warrant number 7830, instead of it being possession of marijuana over an ounce, would that then be possession of marijuana less than an ounce? Because right now.
I'll change that.
Right
I'll
now,
change that.
right now, Mrs. Springer has a $5,000 on the bond, and I certainly would certainly consent to a reduction in the 5,000 since it's a misdemeanor.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I
Um,
would suggest a signature bond. Mr. Springer has been in jail since May 4th. That's about a month on a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor.
Well, I certainly can't consent to
He
that.
wasn't arrested on a misdemeanor. He was arrested on,
Correct. But
but
now
I
we know-
understand your, counselor, I understand your argument. I'm not gonna go for a signature bond. I'll say $1,500 bond on the possession of less than an ounce of marijuana. All right? All right.
Your Honor, and I'll get that over to Mr. Kraus.
Yes.
Well, John, I'll send it to Misty Williams for her to sign
That's
off on,
good.
okay?
And she's a good intermediary.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. That's it. Thank
Good
y'all.
wife,
Thank
another
you,
good
Deputy Kelly,
interview.
be excused.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
I'm good. Thank you. Val, anything you want me
All right, I think that's it for today, right?
Yes,
to open up again?
Okay, we'll send over my decision and, the bond. Somebody, who has bond? I don't have any bond.
I have the calendar.
I have the calendar too, but I mean, I need to add something to, so I can change
Oh, okay, okay.
the 1,500 from 5,000.
That's for the Springer case, Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll prepare something and send it to you.
Okay, great. So, okay, I'll send you the rest. I'll send you my decision, okay? So that should be all we have, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Thank y'all. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to get this over to Angela in a couple of minutes.
Okay,
All right, Judge might be excused.
can we all be excused? Yeah,
All
thank
right.
y'all.
Are
Thank
you
you.
asking our permission?